Hey, welcome. Talk about something we thought we'd never see. I mean, ever, right? Never ever. The last issue of this book, issue 9, was published something like 23 years ago. And it was a big seller and everyone loved it. And Joe Madureira was living the life a lot of us artists kind of wish that we were doing. Drawing a book that we loved of our own creation, we had full control over, and it was selling crazy and making mad cash, and he'd rather go do video games. So, that's his life choice. It's what he wants, and, I respect it. But fuck him, man. I want to read more Battle Chasers. And I kind of only followed the creation of this book peripherally. My understanding is that it was originally announced that he was going to draw this book, and then, nope, he did not draw it at all. He, crafted the story, but he hired on another artist, and eventually, finally, issue 10. So I have done Battle Chasers issue 1, and I tend to like to, if possible, go through these books in order. And so ideally it'd be nice to have done 1 through 9, but, this is brand new. It's, right there. It's a big popular thing that just come out, and you know what? I want to look at it. I want to, kind of give my thoughts on this thing. Because again, we're waiting for this forever. 23 years later, it's like, can it possibly live up to the hype that some of us had in our minds for it? The answer is no, in my opinion. One of my buddies, when he got his copy of the book, he hit some of us up on a group text. It was like, it's the greatest book ever. It's so good. I'm like, all right, well, that's good to know. But now that I've had a chance to look at it, it's fine. It's better than a lot of stuff, but it's not Battle Chasers because Joe Mad's not drawing it. And I'm sorry, but that's what makes the book what it is. It's not that interesting of a concept or a story to put just anyone on it. Now, this artist, Lullaby, I don't know. He's certainly a fine artist, talented, and I guess he's a good replacement for Joe Mad. If you got to have somebody, Joe Mad would have had to have chosen this guy personally. There's some other artists I'd rather have seen do it, but I want Joe Mad to do it. Just sit down and draw one comic book, man. You drew that god-awful, horrible Ultimates Volume 3 series. Draw this, please. I don't get it. But we're going to look at issue 10. Now, I wasn't expecting anything different, but on the inside, it gives a bunch of recap of the story and the characters. Let's check out some of these. Gully is a young girl on a quest to find her missing father, Aramis. She has recently come into possession of her father's gauntlets, which grant her superhuman strength and invulnerability, and she never uses them. She's been hunted ever since. All right, great. Garrison, a fallen martial paladin turned sellsword with a small dick. Once loyal to the missing hero Aramis, Garrison struggles to escape his own violent past. His refusal to bring Red Monica to justice has made him an enemy of the kingdom. Okay. Red Monica. A wanted fugitive with huge tits, the notorious outlaw Red Monica will do anything for fame and fortune, especially if she's taking it from someone else. Chekhov prostitute joke. Nailed it. Longtime friend and foe of Garrison, whichever suits her current needs, Monica always brings trouble. Calibretto, an ancient war golem built for battle and boring as fuck. Calibretto developed his own sentience and was saved from persecution by the wizard Nolan. Though a kind and nurturing protector, Bretto commands an arsenal of destructive firepower capable of handling any threat to his friends, most notably Gully, to whom he's formed an unusual bond. Yeah, that's what happened. Nolan, quick of wit and tough as nails and old as fuck. The old wizard Nolan has seen it all. With a huge spellbook and a short temper, he is far more dangerous than he first appears. He is rumored to be hundreds of years old, and few are alive who know him or his true origins. Okay. Maestro. Garrison's former mentor, lover, and leader of the martial paladins. He's been tasked with returning Garrison to Capital City by any means necessary. And it goes over the martial paladins, a bunch of soldiers, and the Sebastius Nafar, some bad guy who's in jail. Fuck it, who cares? And then they break down the whole story of everything's going on. Now, I'm not going to read all this nonsense because if you're here, you're most likely familiar with Battle Chasers. Probably. And if not, I mean, go out and buy the book. You can get a big collection of everything. This pretty awesome collection. That's pretty hot. That should be the cover. But we're just going to get into the book. So I've gone over this a couple times. So Joe Mad story and this Ludo Lullaby art. So I believe he does all digital work. So pencils, inks, colors. It's all him. And then you got lettering and then a bunch of covers. And so basically one guy in charge of everything to do with the visuals. The drawings, the compositions, the layouts, the colors, and how the coloring interacts and everything. He's good. He's no Joe Madureira, but who is, right? It's fine. I struggle to objectively look at his work, this artist, because I want Joe Mad to draw Battle Chasers. That's what gives it its interest. This is a pretty good opening scene. This, it says, you know, Garrison's home. I mean, they showed this in the previous books, and I know this is splitting hairs probably, but that is not what Garrison's home looked like. I mean, it looked like this. So again, I guess it doesn't matter. But I was like, well, where's this? This isn't his home. I remembered that book from more than 2 decades ago. But the story ended in Battle Chasers number 9 with Red Monica, hot girl here, who's way hotter when Joe Madureira draws her. She's, like I was saying, the character breakdown, she's like a roguish scoundrel. She's Han Solo taking jobs, but she's got a heart of gold. She's not an evil person. She can be selfish, but she got herself wrapped up into some shit that got her in trouble, attacked, wounded, and she had to make her way to Garrison's place, and she kind of showed up at his doorstep, wounded, injured, and like, I think she might have passed out. So this is her. We're finally getting the wrap up to that story 2 decades plus later. She wakes up, stupid, double-crossed, humiliated, and in all the places to crawl back to. Red, you've reached a new low. This is kind of an interesting... I can't speak to color, but it's like the color palette is the same outside at night and inside in the bedroom. Now, you could say that there's no lights on in the bedroom, so the light cast through the window keeps it the same color, but I feel like there should be a different color palette for her inside to feel like it's in a different environment. I don't love the color. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. The drawings are fine. I mean, he gets her correct. I mean, not to be kind of crass about it, but Joe Madureira designs Red Monica in a very specific way, and that way is with huge knockers. Red hair, huge boobs. That's how she's designed. That's a defining visual trait. And he follows it pretty well, makes it look attractive, sexy, without being gross or exploitive, I think. So you might be able to see, now this is my opinion, all the drawings are fine. I don't know that the storytelling is as good as it could be. There's a couple places in this book where I feel like the storytelling really misses the mark. But what I don't like is so much through this book, there's so many places where the borders of the different panels, there's almost no gutter in between them, and they just kind of bleed into each other, and sometimes you can't, it's not entirely obvious that this is a new panel. They just bleed into each other, and it interrupts and screws up the flow of the storytelling. Now, I mean, I'm not saying every book needs to be kind of like this with big, clear, white borders, but Joe Mad's art, it was always kind of clear, and he's a better storyteller. He's just got that natural ability. Each panel felt separate. And here's another example. See how, like, these... So you've got outside and this kind of color palette, dark, nighttime, but then inside it's lit up with, you know, candles, fireplace, something like that. So there's a distinct difference between the characters and the color schemes outside and the colors on the inside. So, you know, like here they are inside with the lighting, and then she's outside into the night. It looks different. Now this thing, it's all kind of the same. But it's mostly, my problems are the not clear definitions between the border panels in some places. Anyway, she wakes up, she kind of skulks around, looks and finds this locket, pops it open. What we find out is that Garrison, the heroic dude, his wife died, and this is presumably her room, or maybe her and his room. But she looks into it, finds a locket with a picture of her there, and she's like, Monica's saying all her things are still here, like she's still here. Like, how long has it been? So she's looking through the closet, presumably trying to find something to wear. And then Garrison shows up at the door, tells her she shouldn't have come here. And she's like, yeah, I know. I'll get some clothes on and go. Garrison tells her, not those. Like, those are my wife's clothes. Take these. So he kind of tosses them at her. It wasn't extremely clear. I feel like he gave her an unintentional camel toe drawing. I mean, why? Kind of weird. So she's like, all right, I'll make these work. And then she kind of want to give me a hand. Of course, she's going to flirt with him. Now, you can see where Garrison opened up this door. I guess after this panel, there's a different light kind of color scheme coming through to indicate lighting coming from a different place. So it's starting to lighten up. There's some color in this. So it works. But she basically asked if they could go fuck on the bed. And she's like, you were followed. Don't wait for your henchmen. She says, Akiman has my back. So Akiman is one of her badass warrior helpers that you haven't seen in this book yet. But if you read the other books, you know who he is. So she's implying that he's out there. If she was followed, he'll take care of it. And so Garrison, he kind of goes outside, looks, stares at the moon. And for some reason, he's like, chances are it's just you now. So he kind of looks off in the distance at his sword. He's contemplating. If you know the character, he didn't want to pick up his sword and be a warrior anymore, but he's been kind of forced to do so. This is getting into some of those places where there's a lot of good drawing, good action and energy, but some of the panel breaks are not clear enough. Like, these panels almost just bleed together. But there's a little tiny skinny break in them, so it kind of works. There's no break in the top border. But here's this guy, that Akiman. He's getting some water into a container from a river. I guess he hears some sound. He's alerted, leaps into the air, and some tentacles jump out of the ground, stabbing at him. He throws some blade weapons, stabs it. Pretty cool. Shadow on the tree, become some eyes, and this creature like morphs out of the shadows. Kind of like that character in Ninja Scroll, honestly. So this Akiman guy, he's attacked. He's focused on this front guy, but then a big giant hand grabs him from behind. Wasn't super clear, but it's kind of working so far. You got this big giant monster guy that takes him, slams him into the ground. I guess repeatedly, thum, thum, thum. I don't know why there's this hand. I don't understand what this hand drawn here is representative of, or what it's doing, or who it even belongs to. I guess it's him? I don't understand. But they slammed this Akiman guy down on the ground, and they're just, I don't know. If you haven't read the previous books, you still don't get much background on these characters anyway. And these two villainous guys, they're brand new too. So I think anybody who's reading this for the first time might be like, who are these people? What is going on? But they're basically creeping up on Garrison's house. And then we come back over here, and then we got Maestro and some other goofy looking bad guy with these vials of liquid that I guess he's pulling the liquid out of his body, which we'll see why. At first, when I was reading this, I'm like, what the hell is going on? But this guy and this guy are with these other two, and they're all heading towards Garrison's house. And like, we need to, all these bad guys want to kill Garrison. They want to take him out, but Maestro's like, no, we need. Well, they want to take out Garrison, and they can't touch Monica. They need her alive for the moment. So a big monstrous guy who is fighting on the other page, he shows up, and he's like, why are you protecting him? There's conflict between the bad guys. We're going to kill him. And Maestro doesn't seem to give a shit that big monstrous guy's threatening him. He's like, no, you're going to do what I say. So let's go. They just kind of do a bunch of bullshit posturing. But then big, stupid, monstrous guy pulls a Leroy Jenkins. He's like, Garrison's mine. He just takes off and goes to get them on their own anyway. And they're like, oh, all right, well, let's go. We got to go now that we're kind of committed, because Dum Leroy over here just took off. So this guy, Maestro, tells Leech, cover the house, sin with me. These are the characters' names. So this guy's got a gun. How scary could this gun be? We'll see. Meanwhile, stupid giant monstrous guy who could form his hand into an axe, he's out there stomping around. I guess he hits a trap on the ground that shoots explosive bombs in the air. They start exploding, blow half his face off. Cool. Maestro shows up, peeking into the house, searching around. He sees, like, horse hoof prints on the ground. Or not Maestro, but this other guy, whoever the hell this dude is. So then his eyes glow red. There's a lot of things that were not clear. I feel like clearly Madeira is influenced by manga-type storytelling and comics. And I can see this in an animated show where it's kind of shown visually in a cartoon. I don't know that they pulled it off very clearly here because they're not telling us, so you have to just tell by the visuals. But this guy, whoever the hell he is, like, he touches the ground. He's like pinching something in his hand. I don't get what. Has he got dirt? And then his eyes glow red and energy spews out. Okay. But they're at the house and it's seemingly empty. But his eyes glow red, and then we cut to a forest. And all these animals, their eyes start glowing red. So I took that to mean that this creature within, I don't know what kind of distance, can access the visual abilities of all the animals in the forest to turn them into his eyes, his extended vision, to presumably find what he's looking for. And through the birds here, he sees a horse riding away. So again, it wasn't super clear to me when I first read this. I'm like, wait, what? They're at the house. I guess Garrison and Monica, they sensed them coming and they took off. And guy's using his red eyes to use his vision through other animals. And then this is them getting away on horse. And then this panel, I really didn't know what I was looking at. I think it's the guy pointing his hand. And this dude, he's like, I see him. So clearly way out of view. But this guy has far-reaching vision. They say quite a head start. 6 miles, give or take. What do you say, girl? So I guess this character that can do the eye thing to the animals is a girl, I guess. And he says, let's make introduction. So this guy points his gun that he loaded it with this red liquid that I guess he pulls from his body, I guess. And then there's this energy arc charge up something. I don't understand what I'm seeing. But this shot, he fires. Now this is done really well. This shot where he fires off this powerful round, like you see, he's recoiling from the shot, the energy being fired out, that works. So they're saying he's 6 miles away. He aims and fires. Boom. I'm like, okay, that was well done. Then we cut to the legs of the horse running, the close-up of the horse's face as it's breathing. You can see this as a cinematic thing, like the horse running, the close-up of it breathing. Then a kind of a silhouette scene in nature where they're running to get away. It's a pretty well-drawn image. The composition and everything is good. The silhouette's great. I feel like he could have put some more details in the drawing. It feels pretty sparse. It makes it feel like almost like a desert. Like where's more trees and bushes and plants and I don't know. But the birds here got the red eyes, so if you were paying attention, that these things are able to be the bad guys can now see where the good guys are through these eyes. I wonder why it doesn't work on the horse. But yeah, it's Monica and Garrison. They're getting away. They're having a little conversation about, hey, I need to do this thing. You need to come help me, Garrison. And Garrison's like, no, you're dead, but I'll try and help you get away. I'm going to take you somewhere, drop you off. You can get away. I got to say, I appreciate the fact it's good drawing where she's pressed up against him and it's got her boobs like flattened and squished up against him. It's anatomically accurate. And I kind of appreciate that. I've been staring at too many Extreme Studios comics where they don't know how to draw human beings. But they're zipping around really fast, close-up shot of Monica's ass. But she kind of glances behind her. because she's trying to convince Garrison to come with her. She's like, you could just come with me. Like, it would be like old times. She looks behind her. And then that shot that was fired from here, ba-boom. I like how the storytelling portrays the passage of some small amount of time. It's not instantaneous, but a little bit of time. And then boom, the shot has to go through the horse's asshole and then out its front, killing it. And then they happen to dive off and not get hit. Poor horse. She hits the ground, tumbles, sword flies off. She's already hurt. She's hurt a little bit more. So Garrison's like, you still think you could bargain with them? She sees the dead horse. Garrison's like, get up, we got to go. Let's come on. Or do I need to carry you? And this is a dumb line. Monica's like, are you flirting with me? Garrison's like, God damn it, we just fucking got shot at. We almost died. I'm not looking to pound on you right here, but if you're saying I can't, let's do that. I kind of like this bottom panel. The drawing's a simple line work. It looks good. I like that. It looks good. So then that guy who fired the shot, he's just glancing. He's like, oh, what a mess. They're on foot, moving slow. So the guy's like, so you missed. And this guy's like, well, funny, coming from a guy who just lost half his face. So then one of these guys, the big strong guy, he gets a stick, lights it on fire, and tosses the flaming stick into Garrison's house and burns it down. And Maestro's like, oh, that was a mistake. Like, they're implying, like, you don't want to fuck with Garrison. I mean, we haven't really seen why he's an ultimate badass and why everyone's so scared of him or respects him, but beyond the fact that they just say that they do. Anyway, kind of a bird's eye view looking down on Monica and Garrison. They're traveling along. She stumbles and falls. I don't know if, like, she falls into some water. I don't know why they show this panel of her. Doesn't look like water that she's got in her hands. I don't get it. But he offers his hand to help her out. And she's like, no, I don't need it. So you can see, again, the animal, its eyes go red and it can see them. So any animal can become like a threat because the bad guy can see through their eyes. So they reach some place where they can hide out, and they're up high in these mountains. They got good visibility. Garrison says, you'll be able to see them coming from far off, because Garrison's like, I'm going to just drop you off, get you safe, and then I'm out of here. I'm done. I'm not part of this. But then Garrison and Monica look off into the distance, and that's his house burning in the distance. Again, it's kind of a simple drawing. It totally conveys the story. I just feel like it could have been a little bit more detailed, but cinematically, it tells the story, and Monica doesn't say anything. Garrison, his house is burning down. So he drops his bags. She's like, what are you doing? He says, I'm going to buy you some time. She grunts in pain. She's like hell you are. I'm going to come with you. But she's still wounded. And he's like, no, just look, get moving as soon as you can. And no matter what happens, no matter what you see or what you hear, don't stop. Like, run and keep running. I'm going to go try and stop them. So then it just cuts to a big double-page spread. There's Garrison with this giant, ridiculous sword standing, facing down all these bad guys. The big monster guy, the guy with the gun, this creature that can possess animals, Maestro. Pretty good. Pretty good shot. All in all, like, it's great artwork, but I'm just repeating myself. It's not Joe Mad. It's not Joe Mad's work. I wish it was. I just think this would have looked so much better if it was him. And then we cut to the capital city. We're like, oh yeah, there's Gully, and then Sebastian Nafar, who's in jail, and all the prison guards are kind of treating this Nafar guy like a piece of shit. Gully tries to be nice to him and hand him the food that he's been denied. He kind of makes fun of her. He doesn't want to interact with her. Gully doesn't like the way he's being treated, but she's also being treated like shit. And he kind of says, why don't you have your father's gloves, these big giant gauntlets? They're yours. And she's like, well, they're holding them for my protection. He's like, yeah, protection, of course. Where's your father's gloves? They're guarding him. He's like, the most powerful weapon on the planet, and the only one that can wield them is you. That makes you dangerous, and that is why you will never get them back. How could you let this happen? You're a stupid girl. So she's kind of feeling upset, like, the last thing she has of her dead father are his weapons, and they were taken from her, and she kind of realizes that she's tricked out of them. So she runs off. There's stupid Calibretto, her little protector. She comes up to this place where the gloves are being kept. She wants them, and the soldiers are like, no, you can't have them. Calibretto's like, come on, Gully, we got to leave. Gully gets pissed off. I want my damn gloves. Those are my father's weapons. They're mine. They're my possessions. Soldiers aren't having it. So she starts yelling at him. And then they grab onto Gully. And so it seems to snap something in Calibretto where he gets really violent suddenly. Starts throwing him around. The soldiers are freaked out. They start yelling that thing's gone crazy. Prepare to take it down. He starts forming his weapons, and then Sebastian Nafar, the guy who kind of told Gully to go get her weapons, he's sitting back here smiling like, he's like, I goaded them into, you know, bait for the trap, and they're starting some shit. Maybe this is a way to get him out of jail. I don't know. That is the end. So that's the end of issue 10. Pretty solid potential cover, I guess, for the next issue, because it does say next. Do we have to wait 23 years for this one? And they throw up like a pinup, which I don't know why they put that in there. That was the cover to the collected edition. This is from like 4 years ago. It's like, yeah, it's a good drawing, but can you do something new? We've seen this. Give us something new. Christ. Again, not a bad drawing by the artist that drew the book. And then I guess the back page, I think that's the cover that Madeira did for the front, because there was a bunch of covers by a bunch of different artists. So first off, having seen the way this story started, it made me remember going back into this collected edition, which has all 9 issues, but right at the end of it, there is a place. I guess I could have shown this as like a precursor to show where everything kind of ended up previously. I mean, just to start out, this is just Joe Mad's, the last artwork he did for the book, issue 9. And to me, it's already more interesting. Just look at the coloring's great, the composition, the storytelling's much clearer. There's Garrison at his house, like we just were talking about. There's that Akimen guy who shows up, starts fighting with Garrison. But, oh wait. We see that Monica went through some horrible shit, and then here's where she shows up. Torn-ass outfit, giant boobies and everything. And then we see all these bad guys. Now, I kind of forgot about this. Here are these designs of these bad guys that we just saw in the book. They were here at the very end. So these are designs that have existed. There's Maestro, the giant guy, the guy that shoots the guns, and the creature that can see through animals' eyes. There they are right there. And that's where it ended. There's a wolf howls. There's a close-up of, I think it's supposed to be metaphorical, a single wolf surrounded by a bunch of others. God damn, is this page awesome. The coloring on this wolf's eye. God, is that good. Look at this last panel with these trees. Holy shit. I was drawing some pages recently with some like trees in silhouette and a moon in the sky, and I thought that I did kind of okay. God, no, I did not. That looks so good. Sorry, shouldn't be focusing on the previous books. We'll get into this. But what I wanted to show was that in the back of this book, because again, this was issue 9, or well, it's a collection, but the last issue was issue 9. And then in the back of this book, issue 10, art from the unfinished issue that he started, Joe Mad did at some point. So starts out, here's that Akimen guy. Got buckets of water. And you can tell that they revamped the story. Now, of course they would. I'm trying to get to the page in here that's kind of connected to it. Like it shows him here collecting up water. Here he's just got it. And then it's different because we have somebody show up, just puts a gun to his head, and then big monstrous guy grabs onto him. So it's a little different. Tentacles out of the ground, but then you have the panel here where big monstrous hand grabs onto his face. So you could tell they kind of kept some of the previous stuff, but why not just use the pages that Joe Mad did? Like they're right here. Maybe he redid the story to be more dramatic. Whatever this portion of this story is in this collection, I think they abandoned all of this. Whatever this is here, this is not anything that's in the book. But then here we've got, starting out with this book, the new book started. Let me flip it open here. See, this is what I was talking about. This is what Garrison's place looks like. It's like a single kind of shack house with some parts that are destroyed or still under construction. And I guess you could say that's kind of the same thing, but the design of the place is completely different. Should it matter? No, but... And then here you got Monica, as she was here, kind of wrapped up in the same kind of torn up outfit. She's got a tattoo of a heart on her ass. Is that in this one? No. There is no tattoo of a heart on her ass. That's okay. Again, this is all great. This is all good. I just much prefer this. And then, so those are some inked pages. And then we get a big double page splash of all the bad guys that we've seen and just already taken down this Akimen guy. So, you know, who knows how far that Joe Med would have taken the artwork in this, if there's more pages in between, or if this is the story where he just was here, some bad guys get the drop on him on this previous page. Gun to his head, grab him, and he's down, and then it's just here, he's out. Maybe there was a battle. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe his original version is this guy's just down and out. And that's all the extra pages that were started. So maybe they decided that they wanted to, you know, expand on the fight, make him awesome, which they did. But anyway, all in all, I wasn't completely disappointed. I mean, my expectations were already kind of low. I know Joe Mad's not drawn it, so, you know, it's not going to be what I wanted it to be. It's pretty good. The guy's a very talented artist. I don't love the colors. As I've said before, I don't love the lack of separation between some of the panels. I do like that it appears like they put everything into it. There's no ads. It's quite a few pages. It's longer than, I mean, there's no page count, so I don't know how many there are, but it feels like longer than a standard book. And it's pretty good. Like, you know, all in all, I can't complain. Like I said, when I've been looking at stuff like this shit for so long, and then you see things like this, you're just like, oh yeah, a comic can be exciting and fun. It's just, I just wish that it was a little different, meaning I wish that it was drawn by the guy who's supposed to be drawing this. But no disrespect meant to the guy who did. He you know, it's a pretty good job. So, you know, that's it. I've wanted to see this for a long time, and I didn't know where I'd find it, and I was just at this local kind of, well, it's not even a comic shop. It's like a hobby shop in a mall where you can take like old DVDs and movies and toys and shit and sell them and resell them and buy other people's junk. And there's a whole thing of comics off to the side you can go rummaging through that are way overpriced for a bunch of books that are ancient. But they had a rack of new books, and there was one copy of this. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad to see this. I wanted to see this, and now I can say that... I know what happens in Battle Chasers number 10, 23 years after the last issue. So that's all I have got for now. Thank you for watching, as always, and see you next time.